Hello, people. We're here to discuss UFC 258, Usman versus Burns. But before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code FAB. Right now, they're running an amazing offer here with the Weed Whacker. The Weed Whacker is skin safe. It has a replaceable head. It's high performance motor, premium 9,000 RPM motor powers. 9,000 RPM, that, I don't know, that'd probably power a small speedboat, I think. Cordless and rechargeable, a smart design, intelligently contoured design for ease of use, and it's waterproof, which is one of the main features that Eli loves. So, guys, please don't be that person, because we don't need to be anymore. You don't need to be that person with a bushy nose and the funny ears. I'm lucky I don't. I think that's probably because I use a weed whacker, but end of the day, yeah, don't be that person. Eli, any thoughts on that?
Please don't be that guy. You know what I mean? It's waterproof, so you can be in the shower before you're going out. Quick little fix, go out, because you're not gonna. You know what I mean? You're not gonna. No one's gonna be interested in you if you got hair, nose.
Don't be the girl either, because you could be a girl and have big bushy nose and all your ears.
You know what? Everyone's had that awkward conversation with the person with the hairy nose, and where do you look? Where do you look? You know, you look at it. So don't be that person. Don't make things awkward, especially. Don't do it, please.
Don't attack Eli's sensitivities. So it's 20% off plus free shipping with the code FAB at Manscaped. So thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. Moving right along. So that's the product there. Okay, moving right along, guys. Let's talk about these fights.
Usman and Burns.
Yes.
Training partners, ex-training partners. For me, that's what makes it the most interesting about this fight, this story, because when you have a training partner for so long, you know their ins and outs. You know who, you know what I mean, when you spar together for that many times, you know who got the better of who. So who in the, you know what I mean, and they're not going to come out and discuss it with us. They're not going to tell us, do you know what I mean, who got the better of who, but in the back of their minds and their coaches' minds, they know who got the better each time they sparred. So the question now is, since moving camps, does Gilbert Burns have confidence in that he's improved enough now that he can get the better of Usman? Or is Usman, now that Gilbert Burns has left, has made some adjustments or improved his game where he thinks he can get the better of Burns? That's what's interesting for me.
I find that very interesting, because what we see a lot of the times as the advantages or disadvantages that a particular fighter might have, them being training partners, them having spent the amount of time that they have, they know each other so intimately, so much differently. So it's also hard for us, because we're looking at it going, these are the advantages that I believe Gilbert Burns has or that Usman has, but they respectively know each other much better. So they know who and what happens in the small positions, in the small transitions. They know how each other reacts. Not even sometimes in situations like this is not a strength or a weakness, but you know how that person reacts under that particular thing. So it might not be that the person's good or bad off their back or in whatever position. It's their reactions to being put in certain positions. These two guys know it, you know, so they can be ahead of each other just by those milliseconds. Having said that, head-to-head, the matchup, how do you see it? Who do you see it and why?
Usman's got to be the favourite. Do you know what I mean? He's overcome every opponent he's had so far, and he's just physically very imposing on people. He mixes it up very well. He has a very strong, do you know what I mean, wrestling, pushes them up against the cage. What would Gilbert Burns' strength be if he got Usman to the ground? But I just don't think he'd be able to get him to the ground. Striking wise, I don't think that they're not striking specialists. They can both strike. They both have power. They're both athletes, but they're not specialists. So I'm going to have to go with Usman just from, do you know what I mean, past performances and just the caliber of fighter he's sort of become.
This is how I see this fight. I see both of these guys being grappling based, you know, but I see that, and Usman grappled at quite a high level. He was even on the national team as a university representative. Right? He went to World University Games in freestyle wrestling. So he excelled in collegiate and freestyle, which are both different styles of wrestling. I see Burns as obviously having the submission advantage. Having said that, Burns himself is a top game player.
Yeah.
His leg lock game and his back game is all going to be very, very, very good. But he himself is a top game. He's not Craig Jones kind of person that will pull guard, and that's not his game. Someone like Craig Jones, you would really genuinely not be comfortable on top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I do think that Usman would know enough of Burns' game. He's a black belt himself in jiu-jitsu, that there'd be positions on the ground that Usman can get to. So I don't think that Burns enjoys the advantage necessarily of saying Usman can't take me down. I think that certain points against the cage in particular, where nobody's really comfortable, if he can cram him up against the cage, which Usman loves to do, he can threaten the takedowns there. He can look for cradles, which are a good way to hold someone down, good way to start wearing him down. That rip that he does to the spleen is always there, that Usman does. If he can manage to hold him up against the cage, that's a big if, because Burns is a unit, man.
Yeah,
he's a unit.
They're both physically
big imposing guys. Having said that, Usman's got 2 inches of height, I believe, and about 3 or 4 inches in reach.
He's massive.
You know what? He's actually not as big as you'd think he is in real life.
Really?
Yeah, he's a big boy, but he's not as big. Like there are some big welterweights that you're like, fuck, that's a big welterweight. He's big. He's like a big, strong looking dude. Not saying he's not big, but he's not like you expect him to be bigger. I think that's the thing.
Yep.
Colby's bigger than you think he'd be.
Yeah.
He's got like a big head and the whole thing, But I think Burns is like a real thick kind of dude,
Yeah.
I don't know. When I saw him fight at lightweight, it didn't even look like the same person. What I see with the striking, I see that this is where I see it coming undone a little bit for Usman, if it comes undone for him. I think he's a little bit more mechanical than Burns. You're a striking coach, so you jump in wherever you like. I feel that he's a little bit more mechanical. I don't think he has the same raw aggression and power that Burns has.
Yep.
Burns really comes forward, throwing heat, throwing bad intentions. And Usman isn't like that. Usman attacks and then defends. He's methodical. Then he shoots a takedown and pushes you up against the cage.
Yeah.
Burns goes to take your head off.
No, I definitely agree with that. Usman still looks very stiff. He has a lot of muscle mass and that, and a lot of his punches seem very forced in that. Why Burns, when he throws, it seems a lot more natural. It's like he's picking up a ball and throwing it.
Absolutely.
It comes out with a lot of speed and power. While Usman sort of really muscles his punches in, so they're a little bit more slower, and that's where he said, it's a little bit more that methodical type of fighting.
I think he's only had like 3 stoppages. I think it was correct me if I'm wrong. This is just from memory. I think it's Hader Hassan. I think.
Oh yeah,
and then Sergio Moraes, and then it was Colby.
Oh yep,
with the right hand. Now, having said all of that, I don't think that. I also see him being susceptible to Gilbert Burns' leg kicks.
Okay.
Especially if he stands in orthodox. I see Burns being able to hit him with those leg kicks, and I think Burns also being able. He's got an uncanny ability to time that takedown under like a left hook or a right straight. Does Burns? Having said that, I think Gilbert. I think Usman can do that as well. The problem that I see for Usman as well is that generally he's going to try and grind you out over 25 minutes. He's just gonna dominate you and grind you out. And I don't know if he can do that to Usman, but nobody thought he could do that to everyone else that he did it to.
Yeah.
Having said that, each round starts again, and each one of those times is an opportunity for Gilbert to hit with the power and aggression that he does. And I think that he can genuinely capitalize on the ground. But he's more of a guy that's going to that's going to either try and knock you out or maul you on the ground himself.
Yeah.
He's not like a kind of guy that's going to jump on submission after submission after submission. He's not that kind of guy. He's definitely a top game guy.
Yep.
Thoughts?
I just want to know what they know. I want to, you know what I mean? I just wish they would just like someone whisper in my ear and go, this is what used to happen at training. Do you know what I mean? This is who got the better of who and how. I would love to know what they know. Unfortunately, they're going to make us wait for them to fight for me to find out. So
here's a question.
That sucks.
How much does it mean if one guy beats another guy at training? Also, by the way, I didn't say that Usman isn't a big guy. He's a big guy, but he's not as big as you'd think he is.
Yeah.
He's very athletic.
People train different too. There are some people who perform really well at training and don't perform as well in the ring or the cage. And there's other people who, do you know what I mean, at training, they don't look as well, but come under the lights and that they just perform. So you can take a little bit.
Both of these guys perform, but
yeah. So, but do you know what I mean? Is Usman the type that training he went 100%, and is Burns the type that only went, do you know what I mean, 60 to 70% at training? We don't know, but there are people out there who, do you know what I mean, they don't put everything into their training sessions, but in the back of their minds, they know I could have went harder in that. Do you know what I mean? I could have.
And I think there's a different thing because when they're training, they're probably competing against each other close to 88 kilos, 84 kilos, 85 kilos.
Yep.
But they both fight at 77 kilos. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting is like who fights the best at 77 kilos versus who fights the best at 185 pounds or 190 pounds or 200 pounds, whatever they walk around at. Because one guy might walk around 2-3 kilos heavier and it makes a difference at training week in, week out, you know? But when he's lost that 3, 4, 5 kilos advantage and they both have to come in at that weight, that's different as well.
Yeah, well, they don't know that. We don't know that. They don't know that. Yeah. So only the night's going to tell that, which is, again, another interesting.
But do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, like, definitely. Because that extra 3 kilo that you have on is, it's not just the weight advantage, but it's the strength that you're going to have. Do you know what I mean? That,
because your levers and everything.
You're fully, do you know what I mean? You're not strained of nutrition and that as well from cutting the weight. So it's going to be.
Because that's another factor there. Is that everything that they've known about each other is when you've trained together is basically in another weight division.
Yeah,
you know, so that's interesting as well. I think it's going to be hard for Usman to deal with the aggression and the versatility in the shots of Burns, and the fact that Burns is going to come in with big leg kicks. I think if Usman, and only they know this, if Usman sees the wrestling as a no-go zone for himself to go to, which I doubt, but if he does, I think Gilbert's going to win.
Yep. I doubt that, but I doubt that Usman's going to see that as a no-go zone. I think he backs what he does. He does it very well, presses you up against the cage, wins them rounds. Like you said, the shots to the spleen, working the body, really, do you know what I mean, making you hold that weight, wearing you down. What is going to be interesting is if one of them, do you know what I mean, does Usman feel comfortable being on top? Do you know what I mean? If he takes him down, of Burns, because Burns is that top fighter. Can Burns take Usman down? Do you know what I mean? Has there been times in training where he, do you know what I mean, he has a trip or he has something that he's went to that's been able to get Usman down?
Well, I think he said himself that he feels that Usman's not good off his back.
I would agree that he wouldn't be that good off his back because he's so good
as a wrestler.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Not being on his back, that I don't think he's, do you know what I mean, went to a jiu-jitsu class when I'm going to pull guard today.
Yeah. Well, he would have to do that. Like, he would have to be like, I'm going to pull guard, because there wouldn't be a lot of people putting him on his back.
Nah.
You know, and that's another thing that's lost as well. Like, when people talk about grappling, they talk about grappling like it's just jiu-jitsu. Or then some people a little bit more advanced, they talk about grappling like it's wrestling and jiu-jitsu. But then there's such a mix of all of those things, you know. And some people haven't developed a guard, but they've developed an amazing ability to get back up off the ground. Yep. You know what I mean? And that's grappling for fighting is completely different as well.
Yep.
You don't have to necessarily have the best guard if you can't be put on your back. You know what I mean? Like I don't know that Khabib's guard would be like anywhere near like Damian Maia's guard, for instance.
Yep.
But you got to get him there on his back. And the other problem is when you get a good wrestler down, like even like say Burns getting Usman down, he also has to know that Usman's not going to play guard, but the moment you give him space, he's going to get up.
He's out there.
And Burns is not stupid; they know that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that if I'm interested to see how the wrestling is going to play out, because I think for the fight with Colby it was similar. It was like, how's the wrestling going to play out? And the way it played out with the two of them was neither one of them wanted to engage in the wrestling with Colby and Usman, and they had a kickboxing match, and both of them were like, "I'm the better kickboxer."
Yeah.
But I think that neither one of them wanted to waste that energy having a wrestling match and then being caught out with the striking.
Yeah, I think that Gilbert Burns is a bit different to Colby. It possesses a little bit more power.
Possesses more power.
A lot
more, comes forward and more aggressive with his grappling, I think.
Yeah.
With his submissions, with the whole thing, or the threat of submissions, rather.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: Colby won the gold medal at the Fila Grappling.
Yeah.
He's a very good grappler, man. Not just wrestler.
So, where's he at now? What's next for him?
I don't know. Probably Masvidal.
Yeah, I think they're trying to push that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, let us know what you think. Please, guys, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please do so, guys. Share this with your friends. Thank you so much. Take care.